Okay, so I genuinely didn't know when I was going to make this video because I've had a lot of things sort of playing over in my head recently, and one of them is that when I started the YouTube video um, of Last Known Whereabouts, I kind of didn't realize that it was going to end up being more of my own journey. I genuinely was of the belief that I was going to be tracking other people's journeys in the way that they had discovered their spiritual essence and things like that. But instead, sorry, I have a really itchy nose. Um, but instead, I have kind of ended up on my own weird journey. As you know, if you've looked or seen any of the other videos recently, you would know that I'd had some Christ experiences and things like that, of which, as I've said, I'm not a religious person, so the fact that those things were coming out, I found out of this world. That's the way that I can describe it. And whilst I feel like I've studied, let's see if I can get some better lighting. Didn't want it too bright. Whilst I feel like I have studied bits and pieces, I followed what was in my heart. So I went down the path of shamanism, and I still firmly believe in a huge aspect of shamanism. I don't necessarily, I've said this before, call myself a shaman or anything, but I do use their practices or some of their practices to tap into the energy source that I have. Nevertheless, I'm actually going to talk very specifically about what has occurred for me now. And what has occurred for me at this point is kind of wild. So I'll take you back just for the sake of the story, because it almost becomes more and more unbelievable as it unfolds, kind of thing, I suppose. So I had a very dear friend of mine getting married, and I had said yes to going to the wedding and all the rest of it, and I just kept getting this message from Spirit. I had another event at the same time, and I just kept getting this message to go to this other event, and I was really torn between the decision that I had to make, because one was for a friend and the other was for myself. And more often than not, we always put other people first. And I suppose in this instance, I decided that I needed to do this for me. The calling was too big. And on the back end of that, which I have promoted as well, was my trip to Mount Beauty. Now, the wild thing about my trip to Mount Beauty was I was almost being led by this heartfelt thing within me, and as the people were reaching out to me that I didn't know, that are now beautiful friends, but nevertheless, when they started to reach out to me, I was just like, yep, I can do it, no problem. Like, I do this, and this, and I was sort of rattled off what I do at home. And I suppose I had been playing with energy, but not really consciously playing with energy. I just was getting these little downloads, and I was just sharing them with my clients as I was doing their healings and things like that. So, but I wasn't so invested. I knew that something was happening, but I wasn't in control, if that makes any sense at all. Nevertheless, I end up going to this Mount Beauty festival, and every time I went to sit down to write something, to plan out the program or what I was going to do, like I was running workshops and everything, and every time I went to do it, I just got this message from Spirit saying, it's all within you. You don't need to write it down. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm going in completely unprepared. And I thought, I don't know what to do, because it was every time I went to sit down, I almost had a writer's block. So additional to feeling unprepared and wanting to prepare myself, even when I did sit down to do it, I couldn't. So it was kind of a weird situation to be sitting in. Nevertheless, I get there, I set up everything, I'm ready to go. I've got my workspace set up to do shamanic healings, and then I had the workshop ready to go. I had my whiteboard all done, and I was organized. I was organized because I had something kind of thing, even though I had nothing. No plan, no pathway, no nothing. Anyway, this woman walked straight up to me, and this was at about 10:25, I think, in the morning. And she said to me, "What time is your first opening for your shamanic healing?" And I said 10:30, and she goes, "Great, I'll take it." I had 5 minutes. I had 5 minutes to kind of go, and we're on. So what did I do? I prayed. I prayed and I said, whatever it is that I am supposed to be here for, bring it now. Show me my true potential. And in that moment, everything changed. And I cannot begin to explain just how wild that experience was, because not only was I taking part in what was going on, I was entirely able to witness what was going on as well. And so I started working on my first client in this particular space, trusting in the divine, trusting in what was being presented to me. And I ended up tapping into, I ended up being booked out for the whole day. I ran my workshop as well, which I believe was a success. I didn't really feel it, but that's, that was fine. I think I was sort of so discombobulated by what was going on in the shamanic healing space, and truly it probably wasn't so much like shamanic healing, I suppose. It was just this unbelievable story that I started to get from people's bodies. And all I was doing was running my hands over their body, just above their body. And I'm not trained in any of this sort of stuff, but what I was getting was I would get energies of people who had passed on. I was getting energies of people who were present. I was getting energies of pets and animals, and I was also getting energies of past and present health concerns. So I was picking up on broken bones from when they were children, and then picking up on illnesses that were currently within their body. I have picked up since on, because turns out this is what happens now. I just almost allow spirit to talk through me. Whatever it is that this person needs to know, it's like spirit talks through me, and it can be so wild. It can be from a loved one coming through to dietary advice. And I can honestly tell you that some of the stuff that I say, I truly take a step back, and I must say to people, like, this is spirit coming through me, because more often than not I have to Google what I've said afterwards to actually see whether or not that's a thing, because I am often shocked about what comes through. Like, did you know that tomatoes have the amino acid for the building block for MSG in it? I did not know this. And so I was telling a friend that there was an additive in his diet that was upsetting his stomach, and I ended up coming to the conclusion, I was like, it's MSG, and I'm like, but nobody uses MSG, like, everyone's so aware of it. And he said, the only thing I had that day was tomatoes. And we Googled it, and all of us were blown away. So I have to say, like, these are the things that come through. So I trust in the story, and I trust in the message that is coming through for the people that I am sharing that space with. And it's funny, I don't know how to turn it necessarily on and off. I don't think I have it all of the time. Certainly sitting here now, I don't feel like I'm interconnected to anything other than perhaps my own nature and my own central nature and the nature that I'm sitting in. But as soon as I find, as soon as I have somebody that's prepared to surrender and share that energy and welcome me into their energetic field, I feel like once there's an agreement, it happens, kind of thing. So it's a really beautiful honoring to have somebody allow whatever our energies are to interact on another plane, and then to come back into this 3D plane and to discuss that as our 3D people. I'm not sure if that's, I think maybe because I'm trying to separate myself from the experience, and I guess that's just me trying to understand it, because as I said, I've not trained in any of this. I didn't go and learn any of this. I do know the human body fairly well. I've been a personal trainer for 15 years. I went and studied embodied I Ching for a little minute, so I understand how sort of energy and chakra works from a movement perspective in that arena. I have utilized the methodology and skill set behind breath work, and I have also sort of dipped my toes into the shamanic stuff. So I have done things, but strangely enough, what it's led me to is this magic that's within that I didn't train for, I didn't anticipate, and yet the stories were coming through a little while ago. I was getting these messages, and I guess in a funny way I was not really trusting my intuition, and perhaps that's the biggest difference, is that now I'm actually trusting my intuition a lot more, or entirely. It's not even a lot more, it's entirely. I trust my intuition. I trust myself over anything else. I trust myself over another person. I trust myself over another situation. I mean, whilst I can take on board anyone's perspective, I always come back to myself before making a final decision, which perhaps I never really did before. But I think that once you come back into your heart space, everything begins to align, and I think that that's really all that's happening for me. But it's a very interesting ride. So my last known whereabouts, I think I was sitting in the space of experiencing God and things like that, and now I am able to dance between the realms, which is probably the coolest thing ever. And I don't think it's done. So and the other, just last bit, everybody has this within them. I didn't plan this. I just trusted this, and I trusted my pathway, and I created a life by design. I have made my life fit around the things that I need to do versus the things that I choose for my soul pathway. And I'm not done. And I know that I'm not done. This is very much just the beginning. And it's really exciting, and I get the opportunity to share it, and I also get the opportunity to look back on a lot of these videos and see how much growth I've had as an individual and how much change I've been through as an individual. And it makes me genuinely happy to know that if I can do this, everybody has the capacity to do this, and if everybody has the capacity to do this, then the world has the opportunity to change. And that brings me so much hope and so much joy. So I look forward to sharing with you where this does go. I'm looking for more people to share, obviously, this little bit of magic with. So if you are looking for a healing on your body, or a reading to find out what energies are being held within your body, then please reach out, and yeah, let's play. See what happens. Much love. Bye bye.